I'm Josh with Waupaca Community Media, joined once again Peg and Sue from the Waupaca Area Public Library. And how are you doing?
Great.
Good morning.
And one of the initiatives we talked about, I'd say probably back in late February or March, somewhere in that time frame, is the library was working on some laptops and some cellular hotspots for your patrons to check out to take home. And I think part of that is to give people more access to those devices, maybe when the library is not closed, or to get around some of the limitations on how long they can use the devices, and also helped out kind of in the COVID world we're in, where maybe they didn't have to be in the library, or people that are maybe working from home now. And that program's been in place for a little while. You've been probably doing that, what, a month or so? 2 months?
About 2 months.
And how's it been going so far?
Oh,
We've had 70 checkouts on the total collection of the laptops and the hotspots. So we have 18 devices, and so 70 checkouts for 18 devices. So that's pretty good in a couple of months. Um,
how long do they get to keep them pegged when they check them out?
so the laptops go out for 2 weeks, and the hotspots go out for 2 weeks. But they can be renewed if nobody's waiting. So if they bring the hotspot in and there's one on the shelf, we can say, "Oh, would you like to renew that?" And we can send it home with them again.
One of the things, Josh, that the library is really concentrating on since our last strategic planning process was collecting stories of impact. So one of the things we've asked people when they check out our laptops and our hotspots, there's a little card in there and says, give us some idea of how you used it and whether it worked for you and whether it was successful. And those impact stories that are coming back on those cards catch you right in the heart.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them people are looking for jobs. People are updating their workforce development skills so that they can get a job. And this is important, when we think about, oh yeah, it's just fluff, the libraries, is just letting people take this and that. But this is life-changing equipment for these families that are using them. And that makes us feel like we've really made a good decision in providing this for our community, that our community did need this. It was an unheard cry for help, I guess, is what I want to say.
It was not identified. So we knew that there were people in the community who didn't have access. We knew that people were remote learning and remote working, but we kind of threw a dart at a board and said, let's try this thing and see if it's really what we need. And what we have found is absolutely it's what we need. 2/3 of the people who check those out are either filing for unemployment, or they're looking for a job, or they're updating their job skills, or getting certifications. These are all really, really important things to these families.
I think one of the things we found out last March is how important and how needed the internet is, even more than we realized. And not to deviate too far from having the laptops and the hotspots, but I know there are some discussions starting on how to improve that countywide, and it's, it's a big focus a lot of places because no one really realized that until you had to have it.
Right. And it's like, how long could you live without heat and electricity? The internet is a utility that is absolutely necessary in today's world.
Absolutely. Well, and when we were growing up, Sue, it was all about you had to have a telephone in your household. And now it's really more than that. It's beyond the idea that you're going to pick up a phone and talk to somebody. It's all about information. If you're applying for unemployment insurance, you can't do it over the phone. I mean, these are things that you have to do with technology, and we're just really happy that the library can provide the tools, but then also help if it's needed.
Well, it's great to hear that the program's been so successful. I know we talked about it a few times in the past that was coming up, and it's good to see it in place, and it's working out. The other
maybe could we just remind people how to go about reserving those? They can call the library to see if there's any available, and we'll certainly let them know. They could put a hold on an item using InfoSoup. They could come in and just see if there's something that's available, but certainly call the library if you have any questions about borrowing one of these. And then you do need a library card, and we can hook you up with one of those too.
We sure can. You know, these impact stories, they, like you said, Sue, they just really pluck at your heartstrings. One of them is that it was a woman who was having cancer treatments, and she has lots of questions. She said she'd wake up in the middle of the night and have to write it down and then wait a day or two before she could get those questions answered, because she had to go to the library to access the internet. She couldn't afford internet at home. So now with the hotspot, she's been able to get those questions answered in the middle of the night when she needs to be able to sleep. And she said there's just no way she could afford to have internet in the home at the home right now. So, you know, that's one of those stories. The story about the gentleman who was able to borrow the hotspot and take it to elderly parents' house where they could watch their grandson on a virtual he was doing a performance, and it was a virtual performance, and 86, 90, and 94, I think, were the ages of the grandparents. There's no way they would have been able to do that without that hotspot, and stay in their home to do it.
Very cool. The other topic we want to talk about today, this is something else that came out of the pandemic, is the kind of the take-home kits you have. And you've got a couple of those going on right now. So tell us what's available for people to take home and work on.
Well, right now we have Mother's Day is coming up, and the Arts Board has provided us with a kit to make a Mother's Day mug. And it's really kind of a cool thing anyway. It's a new technique, and it turns out really gorgeous. You might want to be careful putting it in the dishwasher for a while, but that is really cool. And the idea that there may be a family out there that doesn't have the money to do something for their mother, or there's a child who wants to do something special for mom and can pick up a kit and make her something very personal.
Yeah, one of the things we've done recently, and people who are used to coming to get our take and make kits will notice that now we're asking you to fill out a little 2 to 3 question survey to in order to get the kit. And it is really designed to help us as a library, but also our community partners like the Arts Board and the other organizations that are helping us with these kits, decide whether or not we're actually meeting our outcomes in our design for this. You know, so recently we had a little grow kit, mystery grow kit, you know, and we wanted to know the ages of the kids that are picking up these kits. We wanted to know, had they ever grown anything before, you know, that sort of thing. So our outcome is to increase curiosity and that lifelong learning. And those questions we ask are important to identify whether or not we are meeting those outcomes. So I know that it seems like one more step just to get a kit, but it really does help our library and our supporting organizations. So take a few moments. You can do it online. If you reserve a kit online, it's a Google form and you just fill it out, and then you don't need to do it in person. But we're really excited that we can get the feedback we need to report to our stakeholders, our library board and the city council and even the state, that indeed this work that we're doing is meeting our library goals.
And I suppose that feedback probably helps out on planning what the future kits could be.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
the other impact we want is to create something that or give away something that allows them to have family time. So if that's one of the things that's happening as a result of this, they have something to do together as a family. You know, that's an impact that you can't measure it, but you can certainly say, well, you know, it was important to that family because they had time to do something together. The other kit we have right now is a May basket kit, and those were actually put together by a class at the CDC, the chain Discovery Center, the charter school in town. And, you know, this is another way of making something special for somebody in your life. And then, you know, the tradition is that you give those away on May Day, leave them on somebody's doorstep or visit somebody that you love and give them a May Day basket. So those kits are available until they're gone. And we hope that people take advantage. And like Sue said, you can go online, register online, or you can wait until you get to the library and we have you fill out a little card. It just takes a minute. But what it does for us is it really does say this is the impact that we're having on our community.
And if you live in my neighborhood and want to give me a May basket, a cookie is always a good thing to add. Just saying. Just saying. Joking.
You better be careful. You'll have 3 dozen cookies outside
I
your house.
know. My husband will be very happy.
You're gonna have to walk extra miles just for all those cookies and May baskets.
I know.
Well, Sue Pig, appreciate you getting everyone, the community up to date about what's going on at the library. You got the laptops and the hotspots available for checkout. And you've got 2 new kits available for families to take home. So some good stuff to learn about.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.